to the Velocity Personal Development Podcast, where reaching your greatest potential is determined by how fast you want to grow. I am your host and speaker, C. Barracuda, and I am so glad you're here. Let's get started. In 1903, James Allen wrote a book titled As a Man Thinketh. A quote from the book on page 18 says, "He who cherishes a beautiful vision or a lofty idea in his heart will one day realize it." James Allen goes on to say, Columbus cherished a vision of another world, and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of a multiplicity of worlds and a wider universe, and he revealed it. Both of these great men had goals that began as simple ideas that they remained true to for many years. It is true, your idea is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. The oak sleeps in the acorn, and the bird waits in the egg. What is it that you wait for? What dream or vision do you see when you daydream? Daydreams are just the beginning of that creative power in all of us. The creative power that gives us the ability to realize our visions, our dreams, our goals. There is a very important principle in an old expression, and it's hidden in plain sight. Years ago, in breaking up with a significant other, the advice we often heard from family or friends went something like this: if you love someone, set them free. They come back, they're yours. If they don't, they never were. Goals must be set free. Dreams must be let go. Visions cannot be held on to. We have to take the first step of letting go of our dreams, visions, and goals for them to be actualized, for them to at one point be realized. We have to release them. Allow me to give an example. Many times in my life I would get inspired, have an idea or dream or something specific. Before the internet, I would go to the library to get a good picture of what I had envisioned. After the internet, I would simply use Google to search for a picture. Once I had a picture in my mind, I would release it. I would let it go and not think about it for a little while, and I would often release it by speaking it out loud. I guess you can say I sent it out into the universe, waiting to see if and when it would come back to me. One time, I remember, I needed a pair of basketball sneakers. The thought just popped in my head, and I could see a nice black pair of sneaks. I went online and started looking for a pair, and everything cost too much. I put it aside, forgot about it. I literally released it. While my wife and I were out one Saturday afternoon, we drove past a Goodwill consignment store. Suddenly, the image of a pair of sneakers jumped into my mind. I thought, no, a Goodwill? That's all used stuff. But the thought of those sneakers, the picture, the image wouldn't leave me alone. I said, honey, let's stop at that Goodwill we just passed. I want to see if they have a pair of nice sneakers. Maybe used, of course. We turned around, drove into the Goodwill parking lot, parked the car, and walked in the front door. I sauntered over to the men's area looking for sneakers. There, on the bottom rack, was a pair of black, French-made basketball sneakers in mint condition. I was shocked, and I thought, this has got to be a coincidence. I bought those sneakers, and I still have them almost 10 years later, and they are still in great condition. Just a side note, events like the one I just described continued to happen to me over and over, and with other things. I started keeping a log. But let's get back to our point. I want you to remember everything in this universe is related or connected. Just take a look at quantum physics and you will see that every atom in this universe is connected. How? No one really knows, but something is there in the unknown, and it takes something to make it known. It's a mystery, but the reality of that mystery breaks through a little here and a little there. Now, I'm not going to get religious or preachy, so bear with me for a minute. There is a verse in the Bible, in 1 Corinthians 15:52, that talks about a transformation of our physical bodies into resurrected bodies in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye or the blink of an eye. Now, just hang on, because this will shed some light on our topic. Now, the Greek word that is used in that verse is atomo, and we get the English word atom from it. This Greek word has only one occurrence in the entire Bible, and it is here in 1 Corinthians 15:52. And it shows us there's an interesting connection, that everything is related. Now, could there be another word or maybe another incident in the Bible related to this one? Yes, you guessed it. Way back in the very beginning of the Old Testament, in Genesis, there's a verse that states, "And God said." Right there, packed into those two words, was and is the creative power of the universe. Now, whether you believe in God or not is none of my concern. But for this podcast, I would like you to see that thoughts, words, and actions are all connected in this universe, in the universe we live in. And there is creative power in our thoughts, and in our words, and in our actions. That creative power can either be used for good or for evil. It's up to you. Allow me to give you some examples as we continue. Once again, we look to "You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter" by Dr. Joe Dispenza. In the first chapter, Dr. Dispenza tells the story of a man named Sam, who was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. Once those words planted a picture of the end in Sam's mind, everything went downhill from there. When the end was near, Sam was assigned a new doctor who had a few new orders for Sam to follow. Sam started to get better, even though he was convinced he was going to die, and everybody around him was convinced he was going to die. Sure enough, Sam died, but not from the esophageal cancer, which after the autopsy showed he never had. He was misdiagnosed. So what did he die from? Well, Dr. Dispenza asks the question as well. Is it possible that Sam died from thought alone? Is it possible that our thoughts are that powerful? And if so, is this case unique? No, this case is not unique, for there are so many more stories just like this one. Then there are the other stories of individuals in a bad place making an impossible, miraculous turnaround simply from a thought or a word that gave them hope and joy and a reason to live. It all takes an idea. And all it takes is an idea, a suggestion, a word uttered, and the gears of life or death start moving. There isn't much of a difference when we apply this to our goals, dreams, visions, aspirations, a suggestion, an idea. The process is all the same. Thoughts, words, and actions are all connected in the universe we live in. And there is creative power that resides in all of us, and it gives us the ability to make what is unknown knowable. In our next podcast, part 2 of Your Goals, Making the Unknown Known, we are going to dig deeper into the three areas of creative power: the power of inspiration, the power of imagination, and the power of materialization. We are going to uncover some practical approaches to help us get our creative power in gear. Thank you for listening to the Velocity Personal Development Podcast. I hope to see you next time. For now, remember, from the lips of Napoleon Hill, there are three major factors that make an individual successful: a definite chief aim, enthusiasm, and a pleasing personality. Goodbye for now.